Hello guys and welcome to my beginner's guide to Prison Architects. Now in this episode we're going to be going through cell block A. So what you want to do is open up your grants again and click on cell block A. I've already done this because I needed a bit of extra cash. But this one's very simple. It's another one you should be taking really, because you will be raising your capacities to 15. And that's all it wants you to do. So we just need to get a capacity up to 15. There's a couple of ways you can do this. We could use our holding cell and just whack another 15 beds in there, like so. On the 15 with another 6, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could do something like that. Because we have 9 beds in here already. It will bump us up to 15 and that will complete this grant. Although, grab that quickly. When you start getting more prisoners in, they will have a privacy need. So they will want their own cells, and I think it works out a lot better in the long run to build more cells, give them individual cells, or build cell blocks. So I have planned out. I can't build them. Right, so I'll get to that in a second. I've planned out a few cell blocks over here, a few designs, basic designs that I often use. Now I'm going to go through them quickly. So this is, I would say this is my standard cell block design, where you have a central corridor. I always make my central corridor sort of, always make it too wide like that, so that you don't get prisoners getting stuck in the door. And if you have all these prisoners, and if you have all these prisoners exiting the cell at the same time, then you might be alright with one, to be honest, because we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only got 8 prisoners in this bit. But if you was to expand this up here, say, you had a lot of prisoners trying to get out of this one little doorway, they can bump off of each other, and the pathfinding has a few issues. So I'll generally make them, all my entrances, too wide. And then you section off our cells, which just need to be a 3x2 space. Now they have a few other requirements. So if you go to rooms and click on cell, now if we select at the area you want to be a cell, and that will designate that as a cell. Although that can be a bit long, especially if you built a lot of cells. So if you designate it like this, will recognize there's walls in between, and you want all these separate ones as cells. You can do the same down over this section here. We'll do the same. You do it over the center, like so, then it will make the whole thing a cell, because there is a gap between these. I think if we had doors, it would just try and make this center section a cell and the rest of them cells as well. As we have no doors, section all of that. Do it properly. Click from the top and drag down and section everything as cell. And we don't want that to be a cell. So we've got all these designated cells, and they say they need to be enclosed, surrounded by walls and a door. They need to be indoors, which these cells are. They need a bed and they need a toilet. So we'll start off with the beds. And you can put your bed anywhere in this cell you like. You can put it there, there. Usually just for sort of aesthetic purposes. I won't have it blocking the door like that. Your prisoners will just walk straight over the top of it, and guards will walk over the top. But I'll either put it here, or I will sort of usually slide it behind the doorway here. Put it here, you get a little bit more free space to work with, I guess. So usually I'll have it slip behind the doorway. And then with this here, I've used, I guess you'd call it the tit door spacing. I sort of think of it as. If you turn your head, it looks like it says tits. Carry on all the way up. So you have 3 space, 3 there, and then 1, and 3, and then 1. But you could do it in different ways if you want. You can have them all on the bottom if you like, or you can have them all on the top, or you could just jumble them all around. It's entirely up to you. I'll usually do the same, just again for aesthetics. Have it looking the same on either side. So I was going to slide. Let's finish this cell block off. That will bump us over to 15. And with the toilets, you can put your toilets again. You can put them wherever you want. You can put it in the doorway here. You can put it like against this back wall here, say. You don't have to have the back of the toilet facing a wall. Have it like that. But to make it look nice, I'll usually slide it in at the bottom of the bed here. And then here, it's a little bit fidgety if you're using this hit system. You have to spin the toilets around. If you had them all the same, then you could just drop them all in all the same way up like that, but we don't. I was going to drop them in. I'm just going to speed up our workers a little bit, get this thing finished. And there is a few other things you can put in. Oh, there's one other thing you actually need. It needs to be enclosed. It needs to be surrounded by walls and a door. Now, generally I'll use jail doors for cells. Now, when your prisoners are allowed out of their cells, these doors will automatically open up. So you won't have problems with prisoners wanting guards to open their cells every single morning. As soon as it clicks over to shower time or something like that, all the doors will slide open. You can use standard doors if you like. And they put these in, speed a little more. Or you can use solitary doors if you have the money. I say these are 500 a piece. So there's a jail doors 200. You can use your solitary doors for, say, maximum security because they're a lot harder to break down. And I'm guessing you can use staff doors. Never used the staff door because I haven't really had the need to. Though I guess it would let doctors and such get into the cells, or workmen to fix things, or janitors to go and clean inside the cells. But yeah, that could be an idea. Use staff doors instead. But generally I'll use the standard jail doors all the way up. And then now these cells have completed, and we've kicked off that. We've got up to 15 capacity. The only thing is these toilets are not plumbed in. I forgot about that. I plumbed in the electrics just to save a bit of time. I'm going to plumb my large pipes in. Move it all the way across. Now usually you wouldn't want to do this. You wouldn't want to have, because we're going to make these cells, you wouldn't want to have a large pipe close to the cell, because once the prisoners get to a large pipe when they're tunnelling out of your prison, which they occasionally do, if they get to a large pipe, they're able to tunnel a lot quicker down this pipe. So if the guy in this cell, say we put his toilet, quiet guys, so he put his toilet directly on top of this pipe, he got a tool from somewhere and came to his cell and started tunnelling. It was neat. Yeah, he would drop straight onto this large pipe. And it may be quicker for him to go straight up. It's not in this case. I think it's actually shorter for him to go this way. But even if it was quicker for him to go straight up, say the exit was here, he would still run down this large pipe. Because it's a lot quicker for him to funnel down this way. And he will also aid his escape, so you'll have less chance to catch him escaping. So usually you'd put your large pipes, say, down the bottom here, and then have the pipes running off into the various toilets and utilities you need up here. Well, just for the purpose of demonstration, we've got it running straight through here. I don't know why they've missed that one. Oh, we have a workman who has managed to build himself into this room here. Now these guys are stupid and they will do stupid things like this. Now you could tell him to demolish this wall. And they can demolish walls while they're inside the walls. You don't have to go and get anything, so he'll just demolish his way out. Or you could punish him and click and sack him for his stupidity. Which is sometimes easier if you've built something and you've got a workman stuck right in the middle of it. Rather than demolishing a load of walls, you can just sack him off. Right, so let's get in the piping. Now, usually I want all my toilets on the same line, like here, so I can just run one pipe straight up, nice and easy, and I'm not messing around. Now, if we'd have built all these cells differently and had some of them like this and some of them like this, some of them with a toilet in the middle, then it's more of a pain because you have to sort of go up here and you have to add more pipes here maybe, and you just spent £6 on pipes you didn't need to do. It's only $6, but if your things are more complex, then I can start mounting up. You generally want to be efficient in the early game. Try and save your money where you can. It's a good idea to sort of try and plan out where you're going to put your electrical pipes and your water pipes especially, because they have a set limit to them. So you'll have your large pipes running down, and I should have really put it running down here and then branched it up, but it's coming straight off of there. It doesn't really matter. I don't think this prison is going to function very well, to be honest. And you can see I have a gap at the top here. Now what you can do, and what I tend to do, is designate this as a shower, because showers don't actually need to be inside. Well, they don't need to be secured. You can have this bit open. They don't actually need to be inside, so you could just have something like that. All they actually need in them is a shower head. Cover showers? Oh, we covered showers already in the last episode. You can plonk shower heads wherever you like. You could have an outdoor shower if you really wanted. Like I said, usually I will have them tacked onto my cell block like this. And again, for aesthetics, I will have them backing up against the wall. Even though that is not necessary, it will still work just as fine putting them there. But I like my prisons to look nice. And again, good idea to think about your water pipes when you are plumbing in your showers. With this, they will connect to the large pipes, so all we really need to do is just pack in the other ones. Then we put them there and there. And that saved us a little bit of cash on water pipes. So here I have a few more designs. I mean, these can be expanded up, or you can add another block to the side of it if you wish. Now this one is pretty much the same as this, but apart from these, instead of the cells being horizontal, you've got them vertical. That'd be quite nice if you don't have as much space, you just want to squeeze a few cells in here. I mean, you could always put the showers, say, down the middle like that. Now you don't, excuse me, you don't usually need one shower head per prisoner. It's a good idea to have about 70 or 80%, I would say, of the shower heads to cell ratio. If you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, we've got 10 cells in here. So I would say it would probably be a good idea to get at least, say, 8 shower heads in here. Now we could extend this a little bit and stick them up here in their own little section, and we could just stick them on the outside here. If you are going to do something like this though, just make sure you put your drains in to stop the water. The water can be a bit funny and go diagonally sometimes, but it won't pass through walls, and it won't go past the drains. Now I'm not going to do these cells because it's just going to be repeating what we've done here. Oh well, I'll do a couple actually, just to show a few of the things. In these cells, if you do them like this, so I'll usually make them all the same, but in this, fortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that, because I have the doorways in different positions to make it look nice. Well, at least this bottom one's in a different position. In this top one, oh no, they're all in different positions, just to be a pain. So this, again, could be a problem when we put in our toilets. We'd have to put one there, and then we've got one on this side here, and then we've got one here again, and maybe if you run your pipe straight up the middle, you could just branch off of that. But there's a couple of other things you can put into cells. And you can make your cells larger than this 2x3 if you like. And you do, prisoners do like larger cells. There is something in the logistics, I think. I can't remember what it is now. I don't think we've unlocked it yet. If prisoners behave themselves in your prison, they will like get rank up to deserve a better cell, and then it will grade all of your cells. So this would be a rank 1 cell. I'll cover this a little bit later when we get that unlocked. We might build some larger cells just to show you. And then you get buffs for putting things in here, so like bookshelves. You'll get an extra point, so that'll make it a grade 2 cell. If you put an office desk in, they get another point. You get a point, so that's still a grade 2 cell. Everything just adds 1 point. And windows leading to the outside. Now it's got to lead to an outside area. Can't back onto another cell like that. That won't count. But this one on the side here will count, because he backs onto the outside. But we'll go into room grading a little bit later on, I think. But in your early game, you can add bookshelves, helps with their literacy needs. It makes the cells look a bit nicer, I think. And they're only $30 a piece. I mean, you can add TVs. Starts racking up the price a little bit. They're 200 quid a pop. So if you wanted to do 10 cells, that's $2,000 in tellies. You can... What else can you put in cells? Radios off this... Like, radios a little bit cheaper, 100 quid. Again, these will help with a few of your prisoner needs. Different ones give different needs for literacy. Office desk, I don't think it reduces any needs. TV reduces the recreation need, and so does the radio. You can put showers in the cells, although you can't assign it as a shower. But when you tell your prisoners to go shower, they will still go out and go to this shower. But if they need a shower in their free time, they will use this shower, or they may use this shower if it's closer than another shower. Alright, so we've got those in. The monks, they're not plumbed in, they don't have doors. One thing with drains, you can put doors over the top of drains. Not a problem there. And you can also put drains underneath doors. So if you realise that you've got water flooding into a cell, you don't have to demolish the door to put the drain in. And go on to the next design, which is pretty much the same as this one. I mean, the only difference is there is 2 corridors entering, which I think is a little bit redundant, because you've only got 5 prisoners in here, and you've wasted all of this space. You've added an extra... You're planning up, come on. Added an extra 3x16. How many squares is that? 30... 42, 48 squares. You have lost 48 tiles over this one. I think that's right. 15 by 16 and 12 by 16. Yeah. Well, you've wasted a little bit of space because you've got these extra corridors in, and that can be a little bit wasteful. And what you can do, I was going to show you, but I ran out of space, is you could attach another set of cells to the side here. I mean, I can't do this because I can't build on this outside wall. You'd have planned it out a little bit better than I just did. Then you could have added another set of cells in here and added another one on the other side there. Expand it each way. And then you basically got 2 of these side by side. Then you could have a big shower at the top, or a corridor at the top, and then allow prisoners to kind of run around the top of this thing. Or you could have an exit up the top, and they could use these exits as well. It's usually dependent on what else you've got and where you can fit your cells in. Sometimes when you get towards the end, you're trying to squeeze in a few extra cells here and there, and they might look a little bit funny because you might decide you can squeeze a couple more down there. One thing to think about when you are planning where to put your cells is the prisoners will be in these at night. And can we get regime? Oh, we can get regime. Now, usually what I will have in my regimes is I'll have them sleeping, and the first thing they'll do is go to the shower. Which is why I tend to build showers next to the cells, so they can just file out the cells and into the showers. But if you want them going to the yard or working, you want them with a pretty easy access to the places they're going to need to get to from their cells. If you go shower, lock up, eat, or lock up and eat. When they're in lock up, they're locked in their cells. So in this, we go lock up and eat. It'll try and get from here down into the canteen. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem. If you built your cells up the top here, and you had things in the way and you had to go all the way around to the canteen, that's becoming an issue. So you want to try and get your cells sort of central to where your prisoners are going to need to be. And up here I have a bit of a crazier design. Oh, I just want to show you one more thing actually. That's utilities. Now I've told them to build an electrical cable down the centre here, but they can't build this because they've got no route to it. Now, one of the ways you can solve this problem is to either build the cable first and then put the walls on top of it, or if you get them to demolish the wall, beat them up, come on guys. Here he comes. Let's demolish a wall next to this, and then when they try and do it again, I'm going to force them to do it again by cancelling it and redoing it. Then they'll have an easy access to this section. Here he comes. No, this is going to get the garbage. Is he the only one doing any work? Oh no, there's he is over there. Friend is working too. Come on, come on. So they can install the cable and then you can just simply put the wall back in. There we are. So move on to this one next and figure out why this isn't lit up. Oh, I had a similar problem here, I think. They couldn't get into here because they locked themselves out, or they built this area in, so they couldn't get these pipes to install them. But they'll light this up soon. But my plan for this one was just to make things look a little bit different. There we go, that's better. So I've got to my cells section off. Got 4 cells in the middle. Now you could use these for maximum security prisoners, or supermax prisoners, or just standard prisoners. I usually have different cell blocks for the different security ratings. But this looks a little bit different, looks a bit nicer. And then I sort of started building cells around the sides. Now make sure you got an entrance here. An entrance somewhere. And if you can see here, I decided that I could put solitary confinement in here. Solitary confinement only needs to be 1 square. It needs to be sort of 2 like this, 2 by 1. That's just so you can get a solitary door on there. Solitary doesn't need anything in it. It needs to be enclosed, surrounded by walls and doors. I'm going to cancel that. I think it needs a solitary door on it. I always put a solitary door on there. Oh, but no it doesn't. No, you can use any doors you want on your solitary now. Of course, if your prisoner's in solitary, you might be volatile and might have a tendency to kick off, so you might want to secure him in there with a solitary door, which again are harder to break down. But yeah, it looks like you can use any doors you want in solitaries. Oh, I learned something today. Fantastic. The one thing I did mess up on here. Let's see, put doors in, see if that actually works. Is there is no way to get to this room here. There's nowhere I can put a door apart from on the front. If I wanted all the doors in the centre, it would be a bit of a pain. I'm not sure if I can. Not sure if you can have prisoners walking through other cells to get to their own cell. Find that out. Oops. Looks like you can. It looks like this prisoner will have to go through this then walk through here to get to his cell here. I'm not 100% sure on that. I will check with you guys and get back to you. But when I'd noticed I'd done this and messed up this room, I decided that, well, I can use it for something else. So instead of having a cell here, you could turn it into a common room, a small common room for your prisoners. Or you could have a cleaning cupboard in there. We don't have this unlocked at the minute. Plus we're cleaning cupboards later. But they just need to be 3 by 3, so you could have a cleaning cupboard there. You could also have a laundry in there if you wished. Now laundry and the cleaning cupboard are good to have in the cell block. Especially the laundry. They will launder the prisoner's uniform and then they'll distribute it around the cell block. So they'll take it straight from here and then around into the cells. And it will save them from, say, running from over here to the cell block with the laundry before they can distribute it. But yeah, it's usually I'll try and build a few things into the cell blocks just so I'm not trying to tack them on later. All there. So laundries, cleaning cupboards, and common rooms are the main ones. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of solitary in. You could even save a little bit more space, because we're all about saving space. Trying to be efficient. If we put some walls in there, you could make these solitary as well. Yep, so we could have 2 solitary blocks here as well. This one doesn't have a shower in it. We could remove some of these cells at the top maybe and put a shower in, or put them in the center here. Or we could just again tack them on the sides. So stick them around the edges of the cell block wherever we fancied. And then designate the middle as a shower. Or we could even add a security room. So guards will tend to congregate in security rooms. And when you get confidential informants, again we'll go through in a later video, you will take them from their cell to the security room to interrogate them. So it speeds that up a little bit because they don't have to come as far if your security room is already in the cell block. And it's a nice little touch to have your security where your prisoners are. I think kind of makes logical sense, in my mind at least. So that is cell block A complete. Now there's a few of these. I think it goes up to cell block E. But I'm not going to go through anymore because they're all going to be the same. It's just raise your capacity to a number. The first one is 15, 16. Why can't I find it? There it is. 15 prisoners is the first one. The second one is 50 prisoners, which we could sort of do here if we filled up all these cells. Might squeeze 50 in there. The next one is 100, then 200, then 500, then 1,000, I think. And when you start getting up to 1,000, usually you have to expand your prison out a little bit, just to have the space to get all the cells in. Well, we may go through that later. You may build a big supermax prison with loads of prisoners and see how many people we can get in it. I think there is an achievement for getting 1,000 prisoners in your prison. But I would suggest that you take cell block A at least to start with. Gives you a bit more cash. Gives you £40,000 once you complete it. And build a few cells to build 15. You spent 15 cells. Shouldn't cost you more than 40 grand. So you should make a little bit of profit on that. Then you can use it in your next, one of your next grants off to build something else in your prison. Well, I hope this guide was helpful. Hope you learnt a few bits and pieces. If you did, please give it a like or drop me a comment. I always like to hear from you guys. And if you want to subscribe to keep up to date with my videos, and there's subscribe buttons just down there, just below Grace's materials. And I will catch you guys next time.